Hello and welcome to the Nursing and the Arts podcast. I'm your host, Susan J. Farese, MSN RN, SJF Communications. Here we will listen to stories from nurses that use the creative arts in their practice or in their personal lives. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nursing and the Arts podcast. And I have a wonderful guest with me today, Beth Quaas. Is it Quaas? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
DNP. What is the name of your school?
Minneapolis School of Anesthesia.
Awesome. And you are the associate director, right?
Yeah.
That is great. How long have you been doing that?
I'm going on my 5th year.
That's amazing. And also, you are the host of the podcast, Don't Eat Your Young. As nurses, we have always heard this phrase, nurses eat your young, or they're young. And you have started this podcast. It's in the 5th season. Can you tell me about what propelled you to start this wonderful podcast?
I will say I was a leader over a large CRNA group. I'm a nurse anesthetist, and I was a director of that group. And, it's all of our nursing positions are hard. Leadership is especially hard because I don't think as nurses we get the training and sometimes the support that we need. And so it kind of led to my burnout. And I know we hear that term burnout a lot, but it's true, it's real, it's physical, it's mental.
Absolutely.
And so I thought there has to be, I know there are so many other people that feel the way I do. And so I thought, how can I help tell their stories? I don't want to tell my own because I'm sick of talking about my own. I want other people to tell theirs. And, there's bullying in nursing and burnout. And I think if we can hear people talk about it, maybe we can start to find more solutions. We don't want to normalize it, but unfortunately, it is part of our profession.
It definitely is. One little tidbit, in my very first nursing job as a Navy nurse in San Diego, many, many years ago, 1978 to 81, I was there. One day, and I was in general medicine. It was an all-male ward. We had at least 20 or so in each side, and I would be charged and all. And one day, the nursing supervisor, the PM nursing supervisor, came up to me. I didn't know her very well, but I knew her enough after this. She stopped me and said, by the end of the day, I want you to tell me how much leave you're taking or vacation, and where do you want to work when you come back? And I was blown away by that because I had no idea, but my demeanor was showing signs of burnout. I was a young 20-something working with patients dealing with death and chronic illness and terminal illness. And I did not know that I was burned out in my very first job. So that was my first mentor, not even looking for a mentor. And she spotted this in me. And that changed the trajectory of my life because I went into cardiothoracic surgery, step down after that. And then all of the other positions that followed were things that brought me either joy or, just a lot of knowledge and skills and technical wizardry and et cetera. And it basically propelled me to who I am today. So thank you for doing this podcast because it will touch many, many lives because nurses have so many stories inside of them that don't get out. And a podcast is just one creative arts to be able to share your nursing arts and science with others and the burnout. So thank you so much for what you do. I really,
You're
really
very
appreciate
welcome.
it. And
Thank you.
actually, I was a guest on your podcast. I think it was way back in 2021, something like that.
Yeah.
And we had a lovely discussion. And thank you for that. When you speak with all of these nurses, is it a format where you prepare questions ahead of time, or does it just flow according to what they're going through? Can you tell us about that?
It's just a conversation, I think, just like we're having. I will meet with them just briefly before we decide to record an episode.
Right.
And I kind of want to hear from them. What is it that they want to get out? What story do they want to tell?
Sure.
And it's just a natural conversation. And you're right, nurses love to tell stories. They're really good at it. And everyone has a story.
Oh, sure. Sure. Absolutely.
And I know that you too have stories and you have poetry and you've been doing this for so many years that what we're doing, it took me a long time to think this was something that maybe was helping others. But the more people I talk about and the bigger this gets, we're all here for a common purpose, and that's to help nurses and hopefully improve our profession and our patient care.
So how did you get started with all the technical prowess that you need for doing a podcast?
Well, Susan, uh, I am not techno savvy. I tried figuring it out on my own and got very overwhelmed very quickly, but I knew it was something I wanted to do. And so I sought out some producers that helped me for the first couple seasons.
Mhm.
And then I met someone in a coaching seminar. Her name is Liz, and she's my assistant, and she is amazing. And she helped me build my website. She did all of my branding. She helps put my um, episodes together, and she puts them out on social media. And without her, I would not have a podcast.
That's great. So knowing when you need to ask for help, just like in nursing,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
That's great. And I did look at your website, and we will put all the links that you would like us to put out after the episode here.
Thank you.
So you are episode 1 of season 2. We just finished 11 episodes. So how did you do this? 5 seasons? How many episodes per season?
You know, it has varied, and it really, I still work full-time plus. And so
Mm.
this podcast is something I hope to grow as I'm kind of starting to reduce my workload at other places. So it really varied on, I could get as many in as I could, and then I would have to take a break. And so season 5 is going to be a little different.
Oh,
We're putting a little something out on the website so that we can have nurses nominate other nurses, or they can nominate
oh.
themselves, and we'll give them a shout out on the show. And
Mhm.
they're more than welcome to come and be part of the show as well. And so I think, I don't know how you feel about it. I'm not worried about coming on podcasts and talking, but there are a lot of people that don't think that they should or could or would be able
Mhm.
to. And so I hope this is a way to open that up for other people to come on and tell their stories.
Awesome. That's great. It's very collaborative, and it fosters community, that kind of thing. That's great. Now, how did you decide on anesthesia as your nursing uh, specialty and expertise, and the DNP as well, all the way
Yes,
up?
so I started out in a very little hospital in rural Minnesota, um, and I worked with some of the most amazing nurses that I've ever met. They were so knowledgeable and so confident, and they taught me early on how to really be a good, hardworking nurse. And one evening I was working, and we had a patient that needed to be intubated in the ICU so that they could be shipped out. Um, and this guy came in, and he went to the fridge, and he grabbed a special bag of medicines that I didn't know anything about. And he put the patient to sleep and put that tube in.
Mhm.
And he was so confident, and that I thought, I need to learn more about this. And he was a nurse
Hmm.
anesthetist. And
Interesting.
from that day on, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I was a 2-year associate degree RN. So I immediately started looking at, how do I get my bachelor's? And at that time, you had to have some ICU experience. And
Mhm.
so I went and got that and went into anesthesia, got my master's degree. And then after a few years working in anesthesia, I thought, I want to give back and I want to teach. I love to teach. And so that's what propelled me to go back and get my DNP.
Awesome. And when was that? When was the DNP?
I graduated in 2010.
Oh, so it's been a while. It's been a
Well, I've
while.
been around
Yeah.
for a very long time in nursing
Oh,
since the early
same.
90s.
Oh, since the 70s for me, late 70s. But on and off, and with many, just changes in my life geographically and, professionally and all that. So, uh, do you feel that nurses need some type of a creative outlet in their professional or personal lives? Because I know I do. That's why we started this podcast. Can you tell me about what you've seen in some of the folks that you've interviewed? Are there any trends and what these folks do, or that they learn to do after speaking to you on their podcast, that it's a creative
Yes,
avenue?
I think nurses 100% need something creative, artistic, something to get a lot of what they know out. Um,
Absolutely.
I have met some incredible nurses out there doing that right now. You are one of them for sure. You've done so much artistically that I'm amazed by what you do.
Thank you.
Um, your poetry in nursing, the book that you is amazing, and it's such a tribute. Um, I've had guests that do calligraphy and they
Hmm.
host that. wish I could do that. It seems a little too daunting to me. And writers and so many people are, and podcasters. There are
Mhm.
so many people out there creating amazing things. And I do think we need more nurses that can find their outlet that they're interested in
Mhm.
to help
Mhm.
reduce some of the stress and anxiety and burnout that we're seeing when
Absolutely.
you're at the bedside,
Mhm.
or not even those that aren't at the bedside, but they're
Right.
using their knowledge every day. Um, we all need a little help, and I'm hoping that by bringing some of these people out and letting nurses hear about what they're doing, they can find that person or find their own way to be artistic and get some of those emotions out from inside of us.
Absolutely. There's so many talented nurses, storytellers. Kelly, she's a beauty queen, and that is art right there.
Absolutely.
People that do script or screen medical advising on television shows, actors, choreographers, dancers. There's so much, musicians, artists. The sky is the limit. Nurses can do all of these things, even in sports, in cooking, in gardening. Use your creativity. Get that stress out. Be mindful, and I mean, I just thoroughly believe in it. And I think I was just a pioneer years in the 90s with the poetry. It helped me cope with, family things, my dad having heart surgery when that was fairly new, um, dealing with the death of my maternal grandmother from Alzheimer's, early Alzheimer's, 20 years after her death with poetry. So it takes a while sometimes, but boy, when that catalyst reaches you and changes you forever, that's amazing. So what you do is just so important, and you're still working and just cultivating all of this community, which is just phenomenal. I really appreciate you, and I just trust what you guys are doing, because nurses are having a tough time, and since the pandemic as well, with stress and some violence, just absolutely
Yes.
horrible stories that I'm hearing. So the more that we can foster creativity, collaboration, and just, rewarding all these gifts that nurses have, the better. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Um,
I think there's something that I don't know about you, but I'll say all of
mhm,
the time I was in bedside nursing and in the ICU and in the OR. I'm still in the OR now, but I never once felt I was unsafe.
mhm.
And that is not the case anymore.
Right.
People
Same
are
with
going to
me.
work and
Mhm,
and they're not sure how their day's going to go. Are they going to be safe at work? And that is just such a sad realization as to where we
mhm.
are right now.
Absolutely. It is definitely very sad to see and read these articles, and it's just not fair. The most trusted profession for many, many years in a row. And yet people take advantage of that with violence. Not good. Not good at all.
Right. And again, there are nurses out there that are using their creative side to come up with ways to help us be safe and
Yeah.
help us recognize in a patient or a family member that might be escalating and how to
Right.
de-escalate that and make yourself safe. So there are
Absolutely.
some amazing nurses out there that are using
Right.
their thoughts to make things better for all of us.
Right. What do you do for fun, Beth Quaas? DNP.
Let's see. I love to read. And for the last several years, I've just been reading textbooks, but I've finally gotten back to where now I have enough time to read some fun books. I do love to read. It's my escape, right? If you find a really good book, you don't need to think about anything else. It's just an escape. I
Any
like to
particular,
read.
oh, I'm sorry, any particular genre that you like to read?
I like historical fiction. I love the Roman
Oh,
times, the English, the Tudors, and I love to read that. And
wow.
then science fiction. I used to read Stephen King all of the time. I've read so many of his books, and now I've kind of I go to the library and I look to see what looks good, what book cover speaks to me, because book covers
Interesting.
I didn't
Mm,
know this before, and I know you're very artistic. A book cover can draw you in or turn you off.
it definitely can. And the first few pages for me too.
Yes.
I mostly like biographies, some crime fiction, things like that, a little bit of poetry. But I'm trying to teach haiku more and more instead of reading about it, to tell you the truth. So I've been doing that at the libraries for the last several years, I think 7 years now, on and off.
Wow.
So I like teaching and having people do an aha moment when they start writing. And I use my nature photography as prompts. So it's kind of a full circle, because after they write in my workshops, we try to get a photo of all of us, and then I post their poetry on my blog, on my website, so they get published in a way, in that.
That's
So, and I would love to
fantastic.
do more with nursing groups. I really would. It's taken a while, doing mostly the general public, but I
Mhm.
think, nurses need this as well. They can craft haiku as well. So, anything else that you wanted to mention about uh, unloading our stress, and you know, what about the art of nursing? Do you see an art of nursing rather than the science, or in addition to the science of nursing?
100%. I can speak to anesthesia for sure. Um, it's kind of like flying a plane. You take off and then you're in the air for a while and then you land. And
Right.
a lot of times, the two most harried parts are the taking off and the landing, or the
Hmm.
going to sleep and the waking up, because you just don't know.
Right.
And so there's a real art to making sure your patients are safe and comfortable, but that they also wake up in a timely manner at the end. Um, and so fine tuning your anesthetic and your pain medicines so that that patient wakes up comfortable and safe, but also so that we can get them out of the OR and then move the next patient through. So there's a lot of
Right.
pressure on all of the operating room staff, the nurses, the physicians, the all of us in that space.
Hmm.
And so there's a real art, and that's what I teach too to the students that I
Hmm.
teach. We can teach you all the science and
Right.
everything in the textbooks, but until you get out into the clinical world and really start taking care of patients, that's where the art comes in. You finesse
Right.
things, and what you might give one patient will be completely different, even though they're similar procedures. So there's truly an art, and I would say the same in bedside nursing. And I think the experienced nurses can teach the young nurses so much, and
Mhm.
vice versa. The
Yeah,
young nurses can
absolutely.
teach the experienced nurses. And so in my podcast, the title, Don't Eat Your Young, young isn't a chronological age.
Mm,
It
mm.
is, where are you at this time? And we can all learn from someone. And for the young people coming in, the new nurses, the students that have all of this knowledge, I think they can really teach the experienced people something too. So we all have to have an open mind and just learn from each other and come with kindness.
Mm.
So many new nurses feel so intimidated and are so worried to speak up, that I hope that we can get to a point where everyone just leads with curiosity.
Absolutely. You know what? You were very astute in talking about the plane, taking off and landing. As a nurse anesthetist, you have minimal contact, in the nursing, you know, hospitalization, let's say. You see them in the beginning,
Mhm,
you comfort them, and then you see how they are afterwards. I never thought of that. And OR nurses too. They don't really interact with patients as far as them being awake, with that demeanor and everything.
mhm,
That was extremely interesting to me, because I guess other nurses in the bedside or in clinics or whatever, they are constantly interacting with patients. I
mhm.
think one thing also with your anesthesia is people are very fearful of anesthesia.
Yeah.
And so you need to be calming and serene and quiet and comforting. And so that is definitely a nursing art. That's not for everybody. And I'm sure that someone like you with such a wonderful demeanor would put me at rest and be able to go to bed
And
to sleep in
I
the
think
OR.
the other thing that really puts patients at ease is confidence.
Yes.
As a nurse anesthetist, nurse practitioner, if you come in with confidence, you can see
Mhm.
them just kind of relax. Like, this person's here to take care of me. They know what they're
Mhm.
doing. Even as a new nurse, your patients don't know how long you've been out there. Just come in with
Right.
confidence, and let them know that you're there for them, to advocate for them. Even patients that are going to sleep, the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
thing they should hear is that we're here for you and we're not gonna leave your side and we're gonna take good
Right.
care of you.
Exactly. That's great. You've been such a breath of fresh air, and I
Thank
just
you.
appreciate you so much. We will put all of your links on the website, and please let people know that they could reach out to me as well if they would like to be a guest on my podcast, if they have a creative avenue they'd like to speak about personally or professionally. And just thank you for everything that you do. I'm just so proud of you, and keep up the good work. And I'll be watching more episodes of Don't Eat Your Young.
Well, and I have
Uh,
to say, Susan, same to you. Thank you for doing what you're doing and bringing your creative work out to nurses, to uh, and everyone. Really, you say you're doing it to the general public, but once you're a nurse, you're always a nurse.
Always.
You're bringing that out, and you're doing this podcast, and I too am so deeply appreciative for what you're doing as well.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you, everyone, for watching the Nursing and the Arts podcast. To make sure that you join our Facebook group as well, the Nursing and the Arts group, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your year creating and cultivating the art of nursing in a creative way. Thank you so much for listening to the Nursing and the Arts podcast. We loved having you here. And don't forget to sign up for our Facebook group, Nursing and the Arts, as well. And for information, you can email info@sjfcommunications.com.